up? What's up? Skakel in the house. The second helping of Earl. Earl's World. Hope you guys are chilling right now in the Earl world. It's VIP auction group. Yo, 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 yo. We're just, have enough energy to do a baby stream. We're just doing a little baby stream. And I hope that you guys and girls, but I'm assuming dudes, like to join me on the small on a Wednesday morning. And I realize it's late for some of you and early for some of you. What up? What up? I mean, this is just a little baby stream, nothing too wacky. I think we got out as much as we could of the last stream, and this is like every now and then I like to give you guys a little, it's like deleted scenes, if you will. Of course, Los Angeles is a sad town tonight with the Dodgers not doing well. I think the final score was 6-2. The LA Kings winning in San Jose 4-3, going undefeated on their 5-game road trip. So they're kind of rounding into the form that most people thought they would. And let me see. This weekend I'll be at the Comedy Store at midnight. The police chase was very, very interesting. And I did not know this at the time, that the officer that the motorcycle person shot died. So they were not going to let that guy go. So I'm going to an open mic. What's the closest? I don't know. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles, baby, so I don't know the, what would Pompano Beach or Panama City, what would that be, South Florida? I don't know. You rarely hear of comics coming from South Florida. I know Melton. I think Melton actually came from South Florida. Birmingham, Alabama? I don't know. I mean, Alabama's got some, they've got a nice comedy club in Huntsville. But not too many comics come from Alabama either. The majority of comics come from the East Coast, Canada, and Los Angeles. So I don't know if I could help you. Now I'm seeing this thing about WD-40. I don't like the snipe, but this has me so interested. I want to see, hold on here. Let's, this guy is spraying WD-40 in his toilet, and someone who uses the toilet quite a lot. Let's see what this is about. Let's see, all right.
Apply WD-40 to your toilet, and you'll be shocked at what it can do. Today, I'm going to show you 5 surprising and incredibly useful ways to use it in your home and daily life. Stick around until the end. You'll thank me forever for this. Let's start with the first one. If your door has been driving you crazy with that constant squeaking every time it opens or closes,
I want the toilet one.
Simply spray a small amount of WD-40 directly on the door hinges,
Hello.
holding a paper towel underneath to catch any drips. The difference is instant. The noise disappears, and the door moves smoothly again. No more annoying squeaks interrupting your day. Comment below with your city. Let's see where everyone's watching from. Now for the second tip. This one is even better. Got leather shoes that have lost their shine and look old and tired?
No.
Spray a light layer of WD-40 directly onto the surface of the shoes. Then with a clean cloth or paper towel, wipe and buff them gently. You'll see the shine return. Apply WD-40 to your toilet, and you'll be shocked at what it can do. Today, I'm going to show you 5 surprising and
All good, our
incredibly useful
handy.
ways
Well, I
to
wanted to
use it in
get
your
to the
home and
toilet
daily life.
one.
Stick around until the end. You'll
Oh,
thank me forever for this.
this was a scam just to get, they don't even get to the toilet one. I mean, I don't know what WD-40 could do for your toilet, but like, here we go. You know, I like to peruse what's happening on YouTube. And that was disappointing. I guess that would be the definition of clickbait. I don't clickbait. So, there you go. I mean, you know, why not? Sounds like it could be, yeah, I don't know if I would put WD-40 on my fucking leather shoes. What I do when I have a pair of sneakers that I need cleaned or whatever is I get, actually I have them right here. I get these Lysol wipes. They do the job. Now, I don't know how good it is to put Lysol wipes on your sneakers, but it can't be that bad. And they smell. What up, Articulate John? I thought of you today. I saw like 5 people at the same time sniping Karmic X. I'm like, man, this guy can't catch a break. And I don't think he knows, but you know, that ain't my business. Kip Smith in the house. We're just doing a baby stream here. I was up. I'm have a little energy. It is 12:30, and who knows? Who knows?
Really cool.
Maybe we can get the Yonder Wizard bump, get that fat raid. Because to be honest with you, some of my more popular streams have been around this late at night. Where the analytics page on YouTube tells me that this is the worst time for me to stream. Any update? Yeah, the guy who was on the motorcycle is going to be charged with murder. He actually killed the police officer he shot. So that guy's fucked. Which explains why they let the driver of the car he hit, they didn't chase him. So, ever met Rodney Wingenheimer, very famous local LA radio DJ legend? Never met him. He's a little before my time. I mean, I just, you know, that's going to drive Karmic nuts. But, you know, that's that world. So, you know, I think, and I know no one is in the stream right now from the Dabbleverse world. I've met Rick Dees. But that's, you know, I think, you know, all those people sniping him see him as weak prey. So, you know, that is not going to end well. I don't know what's going to happen with Karmic, but I don't see a good ending there. Rick D's very cool guy. I see what you did there, Kip Smith. Yeah, I mean, Bingenheimer, I think he like used to do shows at the Starwood, which I've always been obsessed with. So, I mean, there was, in the 80s anyway, well, really the 70s as well, LA radio was really an amazing, I mean, those guys were rock stars. I mean, Fraser Smith, most people know him as a comic, but, you know, he was like, kind of like the Howard Stern of LA radio. And then there was Rick Dees, Big Boy later on, Richard Blade, Mark and Brian, Yes, I've done shows with Pauly Shore. I've opened up for Pauly Shore. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't consider Casey Kasem LA radio. I mean, he was syndicated, so he was more of a national guy. You wait, what was that? You been to see Ron Jeremy? I mean, Ron Jeremy's watched me do comedy at the Comedy Store, and then there was like local guys on K Rock, like the Poor Man. Um, I don't remember the Young Marquis. I'm trying to think who else. And then you had Dr. Demento, but he was national. He wasn't necessarily an LA guy. Charlie Tuna, he was a big one. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, there was just like, I mean, in LA in the 70s and 80s, you wanted a radio show versus a TV show. Yeah, I mean, Wolfman Jack, I mean, he's iconic, of course. I mean, I don't know if he got railroaded, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, when there's one accuser, yeah, you know, okay, maybe she's lying. You know, let's hear both sides and you can figure it out. But with him, there's like 20 accusers. Like, you know, they're not all lying, in my opinion. I mean, oh, did I ever visit Ron Jeremy? No, I wouldn't visit him. Um, you know, I mean, the guy was Me Too'd out of porn. So, you know, I mean, when girls who take it in the ass for a living are like, no thanks, that's not a great sign. You know, I mean, to get Me Too'd out of porn it's pretty hard. I mean, I think there was him and another dude who was kind of known for roughing up girls. Good looking guy, too. Yeah, oh, man, I forget his name, but um, he was known to be very aggressive. Um, were you ever on the show The Green Room? Me? No, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's a show about, you know, comedy club green rooms. Um, they Me Too'd Hefner after he died. Well, I mean, I was at the Playboy Mansion twice. I mean, it was definitely a creepy place, you know, no doubt about it. Um, you know, I mean, it's a bunch of old fucking buddies of Hefner and like beautiful young girls. I mean, it really was the two times I was there. I mean, the first time I was there, it was amazing. I mean, just like I snuck in with my buddy. And the first, I'll never forget this. I can remember it like it was 2 seconds ago. We walk into the main mansion, you know, the front part of it, I guess, and there was three girls sitting on like just a couch, and they look up at me and go, "Who are you?" And one had bigger tits than the other. Like it was like hot, hotter, hottest. And I think I told one I was the guitar player in Kiss. And then, so that was the lingerie party. Now, the big deal about that was the first lingerie party they had had in like 5 or 6 years. And so everyone was trying to get into that particular one. And me and my buddy's, he sells like 20, 30, $40 million homes now. He could sneak in to anywhere. He's the definition of act like you belong. Act as if. And then the second party I went into was pretty funny. Same guy says, "Hey, this is when he was working at William Morris." He's like, "My buddy's on the list to go to the Halloween party at the mansion, but he's out of town. So go to this place on, I think, 7th and Alvarado. Get a fake ID with his name on it." So I did. I went as Rocky, and it was awesome. I mean, I knew that night I walked in, and the first people I saw were Vince Neil from Motley Crue. And I'm like, okay, this is a good party. And then Larry Elder, speaking of local radio icons. He's now, I guess you'd say he's national, but back then he was a big deal on LA radio. And, okay, I didn't really listen to K-Rock in the 70s. I really started listening to K-Rock in the early 80s when I would drive to high school. This guy that drove me to high school was a big, like, K-Rock kind of guy. So, Um, I kind of really got into K-Rock, say around 82, 83. 100% I've experienced Ghost at the Comedy Store. And I'll never forget, Vince Neil was with a hot blonde, of course, and he was dressed as a race car driver, like a NASCAR type driver. Uh, I mean, I never saw anything illegal going on both times I was at the Playboy Mansion, but I wouldn't be surprised if you said that someone was assaulted there. I mean, there was definitely, I mean, really the only dudes there were creepy old buddies of Hefner and like high level agents and managers. So, um, you know, I mean, you read some of the, or you see some of those documentaries, about the Playboy Mansion, I mean, it was a wild place. I mean, just like, I remember waiting in line for the bathroom and there was porn playing on TVs that were in the walls. It was softcore porn, but like Playboy porn, I guess you'd call it. But, I love Paul Provenza. Um, I could see Paul having me on. Have you ever gone to one of Dave Grohl's New Year's Eve parties? No, but I have had an experience with Dave Grohl. I do know Tom Green. I hosted his, I guess, his internet talk show, I think twice when he was out of town. So if you look up Earl Skakel, Tom Green, you might see that. But as we all know, or maybe you don't know, Dave Grohl was a tremendous fan of Motorhead, especially Lemmy. So I was the usher at Lemmy's funeral. And afterwards, a very select group of people were allowed to go to Lemmy's final resting spot. Myself, my ex-girlfriend, who was their co-manager, and I mean, there was maybe 7 of us, and I wasn't really paying attention to who was around me. And there was a guy crying uncontrollably behind me, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and I just turned around to give him a hug, no matter who this person was, and it was Dave Grohl. So, has Joe invited you to his show? Joe who? I mean, Joe Mama, Joe Jonas, Joe Rogan. I mean, Oh yeah, R.I.P. Lemmy, but he went hard in the paint. How long you been out in L.A.? 57 years, baby. I am a lifelong Angelino. Um, my family owned a sweatshop by LAX. Well, at least you're honest. Uh, yeah, I mean, I loved. I mean, a Poor Man was my favorite, but he wasn't really a DJ. He was kind of like the wacky sidekick. He always had hot puss around him. Um, you remind me of maybe it's this guy, EA Sports. It's in the game. Cypress Hill from the Rainbow. It's funny enough. The night Bruce Kulick, the guitar player from Kiss, got shot. Let me explain the story. And I don't think, enjoy it. Enjoy it, our Handy. So we're at the Key Club, which is now, what's it called now? The Oak. Here's the history of the Key Club. It was Gazzari's back in the 80s. Then it became Billboard Live. Then the Key Club. Then One Oak. And now it's the Key. The Key or the Keys? I'm not sure. It's kind of an urban club, so I don't go there a lot. It's just not my scene. So we're all there when it was, I think, when it was the Key Club, and Vince Neil's playing there. My friend Brent Fitz is Arby's. We've got the meats. No, but I did audition for that. That son of a bitch. And so we go see Vince Neil because my friend Brent Fitz is drumming. And we're hanging out in the green room at the Key Club now. I don't know what the green room is there like now, but back then it's very small, like very small. I mean, it is the size of maybe the wash area of a bathroom. Um, I'm going to guess maybe 20 feet by 10 feet wide, not including the bathroom. So we're all going out. I walk out with Bruce. I see this guitar player by the name of Frankie Wilsix, who played on Stephen Pearcy's post-Rat band Arcade, and I just wanted to tell him how much I like the band. So I said, Bruce, I'll see you up there in a minute. Bruce goes off by himself. I start telling Frankie, hey, I love that song, Crying No More, and you know, I love your solo on this song and that song. And all of a sudden we hear gunshots, and we all go out. And Bruce is lying in the middle of Sunset. He's bleeding pretty badly. And we all gather around him. My girlfriend at the time is kind of taking charge of the scene because she's very good with, you know, just like organizing shit. And everyone looks up at me and I had like a $700-800 Versace shirt on. And everyone looks up at me and goes, Earl, take off your shirt. We're going to use it as a tourniquet till the paramedics get here. And this is a true story. It's going to sound like I'm joking. I literally look down at Bruce and go, hey man, how bad is it? And people are like, Earl. So we use my shirt as a tourniquet. The ambulance comes. He goes to Cedars-Sinai. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story was what had happened was there was a fight at the Rainbow, and apparently this guy had mouthed off to some of Cypress Hill's crew, and he went back to his car and shot at them. Now, I don't know how the hell Bruce got shot when this guy was aiming at Cypress Hill. Now, they used to smoke weed on the front table. So if you'd walk into the Rainbow, there's that front outdoor table that's still there to this day to the left. So this guy was a shitty shot. And, you know, it could have been me. If I walked out with Bruce, I would have been shot. And the cool thing, I'll never forget this, was I don't know if it was some of Cypress Hill's crew or just Rainbow patrons. I just remember them holding the shooter down, and they were taking some shots on him. And there was this gigantic sheriff came upon the scene, and this whole crowd's like, that's the shooter, that's the shooter. I just remember the cop kind of looking away, letting them get a few extra shots in. So we go to Cedars-Sinai to visit, check in on Bruce. And he was probably in surgery, and I just remember, I'll just say this, I believe Cypress Hill's crew was there going over a possible retaliation. But I don't know if the shooter was at Cedars-Sinai. So the funny part is, the next day I go there to visit Bruce. And I go to the lobby. I'm like, hey, what do you guys do with gunshot victims' clothing? And the guy's like, we put those in the biomedical waste bin in the basement, but you don't want to go in that. It's disgusting. I'm like, yeah, probably not. But where is that? And I went through the biomedical waste bin. Now, there's probably patients with AIDS blood in there and worse. And I got my shirt back, and I still have it. That's a fact, Jack. So I did go to the hospital, Kip Smith, in the house. They just closed the old Arby's on Sunset. I mean, I've had Arby's. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. I think Arby's, it is an intense story. And I remember, you know, that was maybe 2003, 2004. You could look up the exact date. But, like, you know, it is kind of wild. If I don't see Frankie Wilsix from the band Arcade, I'm probably walking out side by side with Bruce. And, you know, I think one of the bullets grazed Bruce's ear. So, like, it was not just like some made up fucking, you know, Bruce trying to milk it. I mean, I'm not going to say he almost died, but it very easily could have. And I don't know if I would have been on the left or right side of him, but, you know, you never know. So that's a story I would tell on Joe Rogan. So along with the gangbangs, a couple gangbang stories. So, you know, Joe, if you're listening, baby, let's get that story out in the National Archives. I mean, those take too long, Kip. I mean, a good 80s Sunset Strip story. See, I was a little too young to enjoy the fruits of the Sunset Strip, but I did go to a party once. There, Heidi Fleiss's lawyer, his name was Paul Fegan. We called him Fig. He was a real freak. Um, he would drive around in a purple Stutz with a cat always on his shoulder. And um, he always had young girls around him. And when I say young, I mean young. And him and Bill Gazzari used to have these wacky after parties after Gazzari's. And I think I was pretty young at the time, maybe 18, maybe 19. And I got invited to one. And man, let's just say I saw some things there. Like even back then, I was pretty horned up. As you can imagine me at 18. I mean, I would have fucked a chair if it had tits. I was like, I got to go, man. This girl looks like she's pretty young. So, see ya. Um, yeah, Joe Rogan is not dumb. You might disagree with his political views or whatever, but the guy, you don't make that much money and are stupid. So, um, you know, yeah, I mean, it's a purple Stutz, and he was Heidi Fleiss's lawyer. Um, and, it makes sense that he would hang out with Bill Gazzari, who was a real freak. Bill Gazzari had the best quote ever. He said this when he was like 70 on a TV show. He's like, I used to love 18-year-olds when I was 18. I love them now. Rock star friend story. I mean, Brent is probably my most famous rock star friend. I mean, he drums for Slash now. He's drummed for Vince Neil. He's drummed in the Bullet Boys. He's almost got a gig as a keyboard player for the Killers. I mean, he's a music savant. He played drums in the band Union, which was Bruce Kulick's band after Kiss. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, he's drummed for Whitford Holmes, Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. But I don't really have any Bobby Lee stories. We never hung out, to be honest with you. We're friendly. Like whenever he sees me, he says hello. But not a lot of no Bobby Lee stories, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think. Of some good rock and roll stories. I mean, there's some funny house party stories I went to. I'm trying to think. I went to a party in Malibu once, packed 4th of July party. I met Gary Busey there. He was wacky. And then the bad guy from Passenger 57, Bruce Payne was his name. Great bad guy in that movie. He was like trying to talk to this girl I was talking to. Who do you think won that war? And so I was so annoyed, I whipped out my dick and I wrapped it around my wrist. I said, hey, Bruce, how do you like my new wristwatch? And he's like, ooh. I'm like, oh, man, I thought he would, wow, I better change tactic there. Craziest teenage LA party story. I mean, I never really went to parties as a teenager. My mom had me on lockdown, but, I mean, probably, the first Playboy party I went to was, nothing really crazy happened, but it was just such the opposite of how the real world works. I mean, it was probably 5 girls to 1 guy, and the most beautiful women on the planet, they came up to you because they just assumed, all right, this guy's here, he's got to be a celebrity. I mean, they're all whores and gold diggers at these things. So it was just like really weird to be involved in that kind of scene. Did you ever see Lemmy at the Rainbow? I gave Lemmy rides to the dentist, man. So yes, I did see Lemmy at the Rainbow. Let me play video poker in the inside downstairs bar as well as the outside bar. Um, and he'd talk to anybody, you know. He's quiet, but like, you know, if you bought him a beer or something, he'd talk to you for a few minutes. Um, I mean, it was an interesting. I mean, it was just like the most beautiful woman in the world, and the probably. I don't know if I'd say that's the nicest house I've been in, but it's up there. I mean, it's definitely a very nice home, and food was amazing. There's a fucking petting zoo there. I mean, it's just like such the opposite of how the real world works. Um, yeah, I bet they are. I bet they are, Gandalf. I mean, I'm not doing it justice. Like, and you got to understand, like, you know, to go back to the first time I was at the Playboy party, my buddy, we're gonna call him Slick Rick. We don't really have to use his real name. He calls me up. I'll never forget. It was about a Saturday night, about 11:30. He's like, Skakel, get your pajamas on. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, we're going to sneak into the Playboy mansion. Now, Hefner had been married for 6 years, I think, it was around 6 years maybe, and um, his wife had put a ixnay on the, you know, the lingerie parties. Probably like, hey, you're not getting any hot pussy in here while I'm in the house. So, you know, they get a divorce, and this was the first one. So I'm telling you, you had everyone, every male celebrity in the world trying to get into this party because they knew what was inside. And my friend Slick Rick, like I said, now he sells $30 to $50 million homes. He just loved the thrill of the chase. If you told him no, he'd find a way in. He'd walk up to a supermodel who was 100 times out of his league, sleep with him that night. I mean, he was just, no was not in his vocabulary in terms of, or I should say rejection was not in his vocabulary. And so he goes, put your pajamas on and we're getting into the mansion. I'm like, how are we going to do that? Are we on the list? No, we're just going to drive in the front gate. I'm like, come on, man. But, you know, I was like, fuck it, why not? So I go to his apartment in Beverly Hills. He had the nicer car between the two of us. He had a black BMW. I mean, I was not driving a schlub car, but like, he probably had the nicer car. And, yes, those days were crazy. So we go to the Playboy Mansion, which is on around Sunset and Mapleton Drive. It's on Mapleton Drive, but it's a little in from Sunset, so it's not exactly on the corner. And there's a line of about 20 to 30 cars. Two security guards, driver side, passenger side. And every car was getting rejected. Literally, if there was 30 cars in this line and we were car number 30, 29 cars had been told to kick rocks. So we get up there and there's probably maybe 10, 15 cars behind us. And Slick Rick just goes to this fucking giant fucking monster. You guys on the list? And Slick Rick just goes, yeah, Rick back there said we're good. And he said it with no hesitation. Guy looking at me from the passenger side. I'm like, what's up, man? And then the main guy told my friend Rick, all right, guys, have a good night at the party. And then as we're about halfway up, all we hear was, get that car, get the Beamer, get the Beamer. But it was too late. We drove up. I think money talks. We slipped the first valet. We saw $100 and said, get this car out of here right now. And then we just walked in. And they were not letting people who weren't dressed up into the party. So you had to be in your pajamas or underwear or whatever. And it was, I mean, it was like I said, I mean, the first thing I saw were three of the hottest girls I've ever seen. I'm sure they were playmates or models or whatever. And like it's hard to explain. Like it's like trying to take a blind person to the foot of the Empire State Building and trying to get them to see what you're seeing. Like it's just there's nothing I can say. I mean, like I said, the hottest girls on the planet buying me or not buying me drinks, but do you want a drink, sir? You're cute. Oh, um, so it was just awesome. Like as you can see, I'm still glowing, and that was. I mean, I don't know when Hefner got divorced. Early '90s, maybe mid '90s. If I'm like, I want to say this was between like '92 to '96, somewhere in that area. Um, I would not do that on a YouTube stream. Like that was the great thing about the Playboy Mansion. There's no cameras. No, I mean, I'm sure there was cameras like Epstein style, but like, you know, once you were in, you were in, and like no pictures. I believe that was the rule, no pictures. So it was pretty fucking awesome. And so, did you get laid that night or what? Now, to be completely honest with you, I didn't, but let's just say some fluids left my body nonetheless. Nonetheless. Um, and the girl I met at the Halloween party, I ended up dating for a while. I never knew her real name. The whole time we dated, she's like, I want you to call me Strawberry Shortcake. Never knew her name. And she was cool. Would you rather get pro athlete groupies or I'd rather get stand up comedy groupies? Because I might not be the best looking guy in the world, but for a comic, I'm pretty attractive. So, you know, the odds are skewed in my favor with the leather pants and the leather jackets. You know, it's a presentation. Would you, so, you know, that was you know, because when you're doing well on stage, there's just something about it. You know, it's something about it that's appealing to the opposite sex. Well, I mean, Rob Schneider had a lot of leftovers because he was married. He is married. And he was 100% faithful. He didn't even put himself in a position to get in trouble. So, because he knew his wife, who I know, would kill him. So, you know, I did all right on the road. Now it's hard, you know, when you're the opening act. I mean, you know, I was no, I was not the feature on most of the shows. I was I guess you'd call me the host, and then Jeff Richards was the feature, and then, you know, Rob. But I did pretty well. I had very few bombs when I opened because you know the crowd. You know, when you're opening up for someone as well known as Rob Schneider, like the crowds are in a good mood. They want you to do well, even though they don't know who you are. So they're rooting for you because they paid a lot of money for this performance. I mean, Rob's not charging $5 a ticket. So, yeah, Nick Thune is a good look, and he's a great guy. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the real deal. Um, so, you know, I can't tell you how many times I had a hot girl, like, not picking up on me, but flirting or whatever, and then I'm selling her a T-shirt with Rob's picture on it. It's kind of it's tough to maneuver when, oh, you're so funny. Are you on Facebook or MySpace at the time? And I'm like, would you like large or medium, miss? Trust me, I still worked it. That's a fact, Jack. Um, and really, how I met my last few girlfriends were all at the Comedy Store doing well on stage. So, I mean, Rob's, you know, you can like if you can toss his politics aside if you don't like his politics, he's very funny, man. I mean, he was so funny in the early days of comedy that he became famous right away. So he kind of stopped doing comedy for a while. Um, so yeah, I believe he got passed with me. Like Adam passed me and Candace Thompson, but then he also just passed like Rob Schneider. Like he didn't have to like showcase or anything. So I was passed with Rob at the Comedy Store, um, and that was in 2014, late 2014. Um, so it was pretty cool. And my name is right next to his on the wall. So we are just forever bonded. Me and Deuce Bigelow. Oh, Nick. Yes, Nick Thune just got passed. Nick got passed. He was the first group of people to be passed by Rose, you know, after Emily left. And, you know, that's the crazy thing about comedy. I mean, the reality is Nick probably should have been passed before me. But I also should have been passed before a lot of people who got passed. But, you know, comedy is, like I always say in here, it's subjective. And, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you can't really worry about it. Like, you know, Nick, but, you know, the thing that Nick did that was smart was he didn't rely on the store. Like, he didn't just sit there and moan. He got tons of spots at the Laugh Factory, the Improv. He did TV spots. I mean, the store is really only what you make of it. You know, what up, Big Black. Big Black is in the stream, so we can talk Dabbleverse if you feel the need to. Was Chad Zumach ever passed at the Comedy Store? He is not. Um, Charlie Sheen, Carell. Yeah, I'm not surprised that that was a good interview. I mean, Carolla's, you know, he's a good interviewer. I had a blast on the show, but then he never asked me back. So I don't know, you know, if I pissed him off. I don't think I did. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I did really well on Jesse Lee Peterson's podcast, but he never asked me back either. So, I don't know. I seem to have problems with comics or people my age. I wish I did meet Robert Schimmel. I never met him. I was on the Robert Schimmel tribute show at the Comedy Store with Stuttering John. So there you go. Hottest female comic of all time. I mean, do you mean like funny or just like purely looks? I mean, did you ever? So yeah, I never met Robert Schimmel, and he's one of my favorite comics. Um, I used to listen to that one comic album where he starts off, he checks in at the hotel, he calls downstairs to the concierge and says, "Hey, where can a guy get fucked around here?" And they said, "Try the gift shop." Um, but I mean, I would think, and now from my friends who are like JLP fans, they told me that nobody has ever made him laugh like I did. But, you know, it's kind of I don't know really what we would talk about, you know, if I went back, you know, I think that's almost a one and done style um, podcast, you know, if you know what I'm saying, like, um, unless we circle back to some things. Never met Charlie Sheen. Natasha Leggero, beautiful. Um, I did meet Rodney Dangerfield at a gym. I mean, yeah, Sarah Silverman's attractive. I mean, I like, of course, my good friend Sarah Tiana. Um, so, I mean, you know, she's got like that Southern belle. Um, you know, I don't know. I just find, and we're good friends. So and she has a man, so I don't want to be too disrespectful. But I mean, I don't have a type, but Sarah's, I think, very pretty. Well, I mean, I don't know. You would think my affiliation with RFK Jr. would have gotten me back in there for a second one, but I don't know if he has a lot of repeat guests. Yeah, King's looking good tonight. Corey Perry scores another goal. My friend Jeff Malott scored a goal. You know, he was earmarked for Ontario, but he's played so well that he's going to make it really hard when Warren Fogle gets back. Ever met Barry Cremens? I don't know who that is. I found out after I came up with the name. I like Big Black. You know, I mean, it's a statement name. That's for sure. So yeah, Rodney was cool. I mean, he seemed to be a little bitter the day I met him. You know, I was like, "Hey, why didn't you do Caddyshack too?" He's like, "Because I didn't want to." Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know if Kill Tony's for me. I mean, uh, I just and Tony hasn't asked me. You know, I'm a little surprised he hasn't asked me because I've done well every time I was on the show, but it's just roasting's not really my thing anymore. So yeah, Caddyshack 2 might be the worst sequel ever made. Um, but I mean, Jackie Mason's funny, but he ain't no Rodney. Um, like if William Montgomery or David Lucas mouthed off to me, I would just get up and spit in their face and walk off the stage. So, Governor Newsom, if he went on Rogan, I mean, I think he would be fair with him, but he'd ask him tough questions. That's what I think lost Kamala the election. I think if she would have gone on Joe in Austin and held her own and like stayed what I call in the pocket, she would have won over a lot of people. But I think when she basically said to Joe, "Yeah, you can come to New York. I'll give you an hour." You don't tell Joe Rogan what you'll give him. You take what he gives you. And she said something to the effect of she was too busy. But that week she did Saturday Night Live, which nobody watches really, to be honest. So yeah, Rick Moranis, he's kind of been out of the loop for a while. Well, Corolla hates Newsom, um, but we live out here, man. It's brutal out here in California. Like people are fleeing this state. Homeless is like you can't even count. It's incalculable how much the homeless have increased here. The crimes increased, uh, overdevelopment. Like West Hollywood's insane. Thoughts on Chevy Chase? I mean, he's a comedy legend. And his daughter Kaylee is the house piano player at the store. So, he had a great run of films. Starting with Foul Play, and then Caddyshack, Fletch, Modern Problems, Vacation. Fletch 2 was pretty good, but he had a bit of a you know hit a dip that he's never really recovered from. But I mean, he's a legend for sure. Yeah, Three Amigos. Oh, interesting, interesting. Yeah, I mean, he definitely had some other films that were good, but I think the films I mentioned were his best. And I think the thing that might have hurt him was he always did kind of the same character, and I think what kind of prolonged Jim Carrey's career was he switched it up every now and then. You might say that's what hurts Sandler. That he did a lot of the same frat boy character, but even he did some serious roles that got people to like look at him in a different way. Whereas Chevy Chase didn't really do that. Um, I would say Caddyshack is the goat for Chevy Chase. And I love Foul Play. That is a great movie with. Um, ever meet Dennis Hopper? I never met Dennis Hopper. Um, yeah, that talk show was. I think the problem with him was Who was your ex-coworker? I loved Colors. I've seen that film about 5,000 times. Well, here's the interesting thing about Dennis Hopper. One of my favorite Miami Vice films or episodes was where the buses run. Out where the buses run. What? No, let me get that right. Um, this is my ADD kicking in. Miami Vice, Bruce Miguel. Let's see. Out where the buses don't run. It is the third episode of the second season of Miami Vice. Now the casting was supposed to be Dennis Hopper, but guest star Bruce McGill was cast only days before production began. After Dennis Hopper, for whom the role was written, pulled out, McGill flew to New York to Miami during the middle of the night to arrive on time and began reading the script without having slept for some time. He based his interpretation of the character on the idea that Weldon would use his odd behavior as a defense mechanism when conversations did not go his way. McGill would later appear in several films by Miami Vice creator Michael Mann, including Collateral, The Insider, and Ali. McGill credits his flamboyant performance as Weldon for these roles, as well as for his casting as Jack Dalton on MacGyver. So, that would have been interesting to see Dennis Hopper. But Bruce McGill nailed. Now, Bruce McGill is probably the most preeminent character actor of my generation. He was just, from Animal House to, I'm sure he's in something in production right now. He's been a working actor for 50 fucking years. So, it was quite, Colors was great. Ismi Varia. Wait, Gerardo? Didn't he say that line? Now, the one guy I tried to get on my podcast that was kind of a dick about it was the leader, Larry Looney Tunes in Colors, Grand Bush. He was also one of the helicopter pilots in Die Hard, with Robert Davi, and I asked him to be on my podcast, and he was kind of like, I don't really have the time. It's like, bro, you're a character actor. You've got the time, brother. But so that was a little disappointing, but, what are you going to do? Bruce McGill, his resume is unbelievable. Like, he's literally been a working actor for 50 years, since Animal House, which was, 78? So just under 50 years. He's up there with like Emmett Walsh and some other people who are just, you see them in everything. I've never canceled the podcast, but I make more money doing this YouTube stream than I do a podcast. Like my podcast, I got paid nothing. I got one pair of hockey gloves from ProStockHockey.com. So I'm done at my age working for free. Now, I'm not going to lie and say the podcast, what up, Buddhist Priest? I'm not going to lie and say, like, the podcast was a lot of work, but it was a lot of work getting guests, making sure this is when I made it kind of my home. And, I think I really started to sour on the podcast, my podcast, when, I was basically for 2 years the unofficial podcast of Roast Battle, until they started their own. And then with how I got treated on the show, and that's a long story that you guys have heard 1,000 times, I was like, fuck this. So, I think the last interview I did was the hockey player Chris Nyland. And Bear, do podcast. Australia, would that be $2.99? It's going to have to be under the right circumstances. Like, I'd have to make money on it. Like I've become, I don't know if I'd say, thank you very much, Bear. I appreciate that very much. I've become, yeah, Nyland's podcast is great. He interviews guys he fought back in the day, Larry Playfair and Ken Lensman. And, um, the Larry Playfair one is tough because I think he might have Parkinson's or something because you could see his hand shaking. And like Larry Playfair was like, he was like the heavyweight champ of the league before Probert, so it's kind of a little rough to see that. And here's Chris Nyland, Huggy Puck. It is the Never Back Down, Chris Nyland. It was kind of cool to talk to Chris Nyland. Yeah, he was kind of checked out back then. I mean, I was a fan of his when he was on the Rangers, but he was often hurt. And then seeing him in a Bruins uniform was weird. So, Judd Nelson, I would bring back the podcast to interview him, but I would want it on video as well. So that might be one. I'd have to find the right studio, and then I got to get Judd to the studio. And like, it's a lot of work when a Skype interview is pretty easy. Okay, 2 o'clock, I'll email you. But, then it's like if I'm trying to get Judd Nelson to say the Comedy Store studio, and I'm sure they'd charge me for it. So, I don't know. Um, like Greg Fitzsimmons is a bald badass. That's a fact, Jack. So we'll go a few more minutes, guys. This was just a bonus stream for you kids. Oh yeah, you knew that guy? That kid, was he ever in anything? Fraud died, I think, the year was it Trini Sandoval or something? He died, I think, right around the time Colors was released in a car accident, I think. Um, so we'll see. I mean, I never say never. Yeah, but my video, I'm not very technically savvy, so I would love to find a studio where they do all the work, they edit it, they, high def cameras. I don't want to turn my living room into a studio. Like, I did do a great interview with Florentine on my couch with my iPhone, but um, yeah, I mean, if I had like my second bedroom once I sell the sports memorabilia, that would be a perfect podcast slash studio to do whatever I wanted, including this stream. I could have a better background than my fucking kitchen. Do it in your parking spot. Yeah, but then you got to deal with cars coming in and out. I mean, I'm not trying to be like negative and poo poo everyone's ideas, but I mean, the ideal situation would be the upstairs second bedroom. That would be because it's carpeted, it's perfect acoustically. Um, so, never say never. I mean, I'm working it. And I mean, I can't say I grew up in Venice, but, I was very familiar. I remember when I saw Colors. I was like new, especially the Venice area. Like I was in Venice a lot in the late 80s. Now, because the girl, she used to change my diapers, but she was like a world famous skateboarder, skateboard mama. She was like this older German lady who would like skate with Tony Hawk. And like she wasn't like the best skateboarder, but the shtick was she's 70. So I would, yeah, the Jersey Room would be, yeah, I mean, the problem with the audio now, and this is just off the phone, so it's pretty good, is really just the hardwood floors. I mean, like this, this is one of the more advanced mics you'll ever see in someone's home studio. The Neumann 103 mic. I mean, you're looking at a $1,200 microphone right there. Now you've got the Shure mics, which I use for Inappropriate Earl, and you've got this mic, which I use for the IMAX change. But this right here is the problem: the hardwood floors. Because this mic is so fucking good, that it picks up the echo of anything that hits this floor. So ideally, the Jersey room would be fucking amazing because it is just carpeted, low ceilings. There would be no echo. I could use the Neumann 103 mic. I mean, I would buy another Neumann 103 mic, so the audio would be next level. Yeah, but I don't want to turn my living room into a studio. That's just my thing. I want to have one area of the house where, it's a home. I'm not reminded of comedy or anything else. But the upstairs, believe me, and the sale of the jerseys would be more than enough to pay for what I would need. So the Neumann has, yes, I've got this pop filter, and then I've got a second pop filter behind it. I use the Neumann for my voiceover gigs. So, we'll see. I mean, listen, I'm not averse to bringing the podcast back, and now that my YouTube page, I mean, it's not like Mr. Beast or anything, but it's certainly doing better. I think if I put up a good quality video interview of Judd Nelson, that would pop. And then if I could get other people, you got to get a hot girl in here too, some Playboy model or whatever. So, I mean, I'm trying to, get it. I would do it again under the right circumstances. Yeah, I mean, I don't think like the one I did with Florentine. Let me pull up the one I did with Florentine. I really enjoyed it. It was on the couch. I mean, can you imagine me and Florentine, our voices, Skakel, Florentine. So, I mean, here we go. I mean, let's see here. Here we go. So, sonically, it sounded.
Well, that's what I liked about you when we were talking about wrestling, and I made a joke about Pat Patterson, and I think you had a situation in your past where you were inappropriately touched, I guess. You just said it, and then I felt bad, and then we just talked about it so openly. I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, I got molested for wrestling pictures. And that's actually in my one-man show because I lead up to my ex-girlfriend dying and all this stuff, but I put that in there. And I showed her pictures I did in a slideshow. I still have it. There was a guy that would sell wrestling pictures out front of Madison Square Garden. He was a photographer. He'd be in the front row. So every time I go to matches, I'd find him outside. He'd sell them for $1. And then the next thing you know, he's like, hey, give me a kiss on the cheek and I'll give you a superstar Billy Graham. And he was my favorite wrestler. I'm like, of course.
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean,
Yeah, the belt.
But I mean, that's. I mean, we joke about it, but that's just.
No, you should joke about it. Why shouldn't you? You look at the picture I got. Nobody else has it.
Oh, it's Superstar Billy Graham. I would probably get molested for like a nice 8x10 of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have 8x10s, but I remember one time he's like, listen, you sit on my lap, I'm in the front row, sit on my lap. And you can sit in the front row, and I got this picture of Ivan Koloff had the belt, and I think he only had it for like a couple.
So you get the picture. Uh-oh. Look at this. You guys can now see what I look at. Stoney is a bar. We got there Melton, and then whatnot. So busted with what else I watch. So that's about it for tonight, boys and girls. Yeah, I mean, you could tell that's part of what made Colors authentic. They really went. Well, I just got to get the background better, and to take it to the next level, I think you need a producer. I mean, the Comedy Store podcast center would be amazing, but I wasn't really pleased with how I was treated there in terms of the wrestling podcast. I mean, we did a lot of work for that fucking wrestling podcast. Let's see if there's any clips of that on here. And, we never got paid. And, their argument would probably be, well, you know, you didn't bring in big numbers, but we got great guests. So, you know, every episode I watch of AEW Dynamite, um, okay, we didn't really, okay, we didn't, okay, there, I guess that wasn't aired. Now, this is my favorite. All right, we'll end on this. I guess we can, I'm not a Snipe show, as you know.
This match is a tag team match.
Now, this is when pro wrestling goes real. This is Sid Vicious and Danny Spivey going up against what they call a job team. Now, these guys are basically paid to look bad. So Sid Vicious and Danny Spivey look good, like unbeatable. And the one guy, Mike Blackwell, this was his hometown, so he thought he was going to get in some offense. I don't think so. Yeah, but you got to understand, Rudy, I did 360 episodes of my podcast. So, and I got busted for manipulating my chart position. When I got shadow banned, it just sucked. And it's my fault. I shouldn't have done it. But I had an A-list publicist tell me, dude, your numbers, everyone's doing it. Everyone's cheating their numbers on iTunes comedy. You got to do it too, or you're never going to get up with them. So I kind of sold out and got caught. And, you know. All right, so check out this. This is when wrestling gets real.
Featuring to my right, the team from out of the mountains of Colorado, the Avalanche, and Mike Blackwell. They'll be going
That's the guy who thought he'd get in to punish some offense.
with their manager, Jay Long. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the
Thank you guys for listening. Now, these two guys are supposed to get in no offense at all.
recording comments from Theodore R. Long.
See how big Sid is.
Vicious and Spivey attacking Blackwell in the
Like, this guy's not selling at all.
Avalanche throws through the ropes, belly to belly on Blackwell. Blackwell thrown right into Sid Vicious.
Did you see that? Sid Vicious should not have gone down. So now they're going to start beating the shit out of this guy for real.
And the skyscrapers really
Like, they're really hitting him.
18. These men are on the borderline dangerous, to say the least. All those suplex. Blackwell ran right into the foot.
Now, notice they shoved the fat guy out of the ring and they told him, don't come back in. We got no problem with you.
A dangerous Dan Spivey. They send him for the right again. Double clothesline. Boy, this is one big team. And there's, Norman's at ringside, too.
Now, wait till they get him outside.
2, 3, and that is it. And these guys are devastated.
Now they're really hitting him.
And the Avalanche just went tumbling down, as does Blackwell. The skyscrapers are bad to the bone.
Oh,
And they're not through here.
they're really hitting him.
This is breaking. They're trying to hurt this guy. I mean, they are. Well, let's get out of here. This is disgusting. There's no reason for this. We'll be back.
Oh, fuck, dude. What the fuck? I don't know what that is. So that's when pro wrestling goes real, I guess. So, and thank you guys for all the, you know, the feedback and suggestions. I mean, obviously, I'm doing this for you guys. And, you know, I'm very pleased with the YouTube progress. I'll just, you know, I'm honest with my numbers. I don't bullshit. So if we go to YouTube Studio here, let's go to the analytics page. My page has 64% more views than last month. 26,000 more views than usual. Almost double the views of usual. Many more subscribers than usual. And, the money is, I mean, that's not going to buy me a house, but, about $40 more than usual. So, I do appreciate the uptick, and good things are coming. And never say never to an Earl podcast. Never say never. I'm like Sting the wrestler. The only thing that's for certain about me is that nothing is for certain.